just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, ChristopherBlodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. Nala, my beautiful husky. What do you think, girl? Should we get started? Well, all right. This week's topic, everybody. Sometimes moving forward involves taking one step forward and two steps back. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me on yet another week of Real Talk Tuesday. For those of you who are new to this podcast, my name is Chris. I am your host. Appreciate everybody being here with me this week. Again, if you're new to this podcast, basically what we do is every Tuesday we have what we call Real Talk Tuesday, and those are also the same days that if I have a raw chat or keeping it real segment, those are kind of like special segments. They don't happen all the time. Can kind of thank my buddy Dave for that as far as the raw chat. The keeping it real, that one's pretty rare anyway, because that involves me and Rico and our friend Barry, and it's kind of hard to, especially with my current schedule, before I switched to doing the St. Louis run and coming in at 5 or 6, at night, and basically taking off and be getting back to the hub like 5-ish in the morning and getting back to Kansas City by 7 or so. It's been a little harder to actually find time to get us all, the three of us, on the phone to do the Keep It Real segment. But when I was working from 2 a.m. until noon, usually we get on the phone at 9 a.m. or something. I'd be an hour. It's 8:30. It'd be an hour or so outside of Kansas City, so we get a nice recording in. So that was pretty nice. But then I switched that we haven't been able to really do it since. So, but the raw chat with Dave, these other truckers I talked to, it's really cool. We can do it, but there's weeks where because I guess he comes in at 3 when he works. Sometimes he comes in a little bit later. It depends on what loads they're having to do. So there's times where I might not hear from him for 2 or 3 weeks. And then we'll get he'll text me raw chat, sure, let's go. Or actually, I gave him crap last time. He's like, raw chat? I said, that sounds like something Cream would fix. He's like, oh yeah. So whenever there's a raw chat and or keeping it real, those will take place on Tuesdays as well. And then there's a segment that the show normally has called Storytime Friday. That happens, of course, on Fridays. It's a little bit of a hiatus right now. I do have material for you guys. Literally, I have a story I did. And of course, my bro Rico is actually working on publishing his first book. He's got a series, a 3-part series that he's working on. And he's finished book 1 of that series. He's working on book 2. and he's already sent me book one. I, of course, already went through it because I have listened to it on an app called Spreaker, which is a really awesome app. It's just expensive. You know, it's like $140 for the year. Well, I guess that's not that expensive, I guess. But what's great about them, and I wish some of these services that I use, I wish I could, just like them and Farmer's Dog, you know, ordering dog, like human grade dog food that's prepared in the kitchen or whatever for my husky. You know, because of being healthier and whatnot than regular kibble and whatnot. But some of these companies I have, like either services with or get like a weekly subscription of products from. It'd be really nice if at some point I could actually like end up being sponsored by them. Be like, hey, if I mention you guys in my episodes, is there any chance you guys, you know, could have some kind of sponsor deal? Like if anybody becomes a customer with my promo code or something, you know, blah blah blah. You know, I don't know how it works. You know, like I haven't done it yet. Like I've literally, in the years that I've been doing this podcast, even though I do have a pretty consistent following, and I've had a big spike in downloads over the past 2 months. Like I've gotten like 1,500 total downloads over the course of like since the beginning of the podcast to like I think I'm at like 3,000, like 3,100 right now. So I've gone up like 1,500 downloads in the past 2 months. So moving in the right direction, but you know, obviously, and I thought honestly I'd reached that point that I was pushing for because my current host, I don't know how much longer they're gonna be my current host. Red Circle, I like them. They're good hosts, but they have this advertising platform. That's part of why I came over to them, because when I heard an advertisement, oh, get at Red Circle, you can join their advertising platform, and you can monetize your show, blah blah blah. Oh, cool, all right. So I made the switch from Captivate, came over here to Red Circle, and then of course, like I'm getting everything signed up. I'm getting my donation part set up. I get the link added, so that way if anybody wants to donate to the Blodgett Show, go to blodgettshowpodcast.com/support or just blodgettshow.com/support. It'll take you to the same thing where you can actually do a one-time donation or you can set a recurring, whatever. I'm much appreciated for anybody who donates. You know, every little bit helps. But I haven't really done much in the way of support, but I know I have people listed. But so when I tried to join their advertising platform initially, they, you know, because it shows like your average weekly download that you have every week. And I think at the time, up until, like I said, like the past 2 months, when I started to kind of do some other stuff and started to see a spike in downloads, I think my average was like 40 to 60 downloads per week, sometimes 100, possibly. But usually it was like each episode might, you know, be listened to like 15 times or 15 downloads, whatever. So yeah, it was roughly about 60 or so downloads per week. But within, you know, a couple weeks of me doing some stuff, I noticed, hey, wow, it jumped. I'm at like 150 downloads per week. All right, cool. And it was like, oh, cool, 225. And then it was like, oh, I'm at 300. Awesome. I was like, I was working my way towards that 500 download per week requirement that Red Circle had mentioned. Because like, your show's not big enough. Like, if you want to grow, we'd recommend cross promotions or blah blah blah, or affiliate deals or whatever to try to like get your brand out, get your show out there. And I'm like, okay, well, I was like, I'll do what I can, you know. So aside from like, I'm trying not to necessarily message or donate to like other podcasts under the podcast name. Like, donate to them not as myself, but as, hey, this is the Blodgett Show podcast. I listen to your guys' show. I think you guys are awesome. Blah blah blah. Putting the name out there. Kind of don't want to do that because I think that, yeah, I would get myself known, and maybe they would mention, be like, hey, we got a donation by this Blodgett Show podcast. Check him out. He's really cool. That would work. I'd be cool, or I'd be happy with that. But at the same time, it's like kind of trying to do the current steps that I've been doing. Hold on a second here, just swapping my water bottles, pulling the empty one out of the cup holder here, putting the full ones. I'd have two 52-ounce Love's water bottles or whatever that I bring out with me. So it's like 110. That's like 105 ounces total. And a lot of times I might only go through one of them, but you know, today I've been trying to drink a little bit more water, so. So bear with me just 1 second, because I'm noticing my throat's a little scratchy tonight. But it is day 6 for me, so and I'm probably like, I would say I'm probably like an hour from when I'll probably get back to Linux. Surprisingly, knock on wood, I haven't been called about taking a load back to KCMO, so I'm like, but this whole week I've been kind of getting back a little bit later because I've been doing bridge work and stuff. So there's been multiple times each day where I end up stopped in traffic where we're crawling at like 5 miles an hour. And I think one night I didn't get to St. Louis until like 1 a.m. I could have got there at like 12, but then like 20 minutes away, we suddenly were stopped. So I called them and I was like, hey, it's Blodgett, just thought I'd let you know, like, I'm like 20 minutes from you, but we're not moving. Well, shit, okay, let me see. Let me bring up your GPS really quick. Because I had a regular FedEx trailer, I didn't have a container, so they could actually track the GPS in the trailer. So he's like, oh yeah, okay, it looks like, yeah, there's a construction going on right there or something. Should get through it within like the next 2 miles. And I'm like, well, that might take a minute because we're literally crawling like 2 miles an hour, so I'll see you guys soon. He goes, yeah, we'll see you when you get here. Because I had a set of doubles that night. And I guess they were having me just drop that set, leave them together, because I guess the team was waiting to grab that set to continue taking it towards Illinois and stuff. So I was like, oh, cool, all right, that saves some time, you know. But because that means I don't have to break them down or whatever. It's literally drop them. Did my arrival, separated from him, and went over and parked really quick to go hit the bathroom and stuff. Check back in on what load I was grabbing, and of course checking back in, I'm going, please don't have me grabbing doubles going back. Please don't have me grabbing doubles going back. Cause like when I picked up that set, I got to Lenexa at like 7. You know, been running a little bit later this week. You know, part of it this week is I didn't really get rested last week. You know, when I was off. I got home Sunday, you know, at 8 or 9, went to bed until probably like 4:30, had to get up and basically just get dressed and had to go back out there to FedEx, like 2 blocks away from FedEx, because we had a safety meeting that was required in our, the office that we have like 2 blocks away. I do appreciate the fact that we have an office outside of FedEx, because I've been with employers in the past that basically their meetings, a lot of times we had to like meet at the FedEx hub. They'd have us go in like the conference room or something. We'd meet up in there. They sometimes would cater it. They'd have food in there or whatever. Or like I was with a company called Johnson out of they were north of Nashville. That was a pretty good, you know, I didn't mind that job. You know, I think I left pretty quick from them. Because I had heard about my previous employer, the one that for my current one. It's technically I stayed with the same company and they got bought out, so it's like I didn't leave my last employer. It's kind of like was absorbed into my current employer. And we'd already gotten approved for the house up here to rent our current place, and so I was already planning to come up here, and they have one of their main terminals, their main offices up here in Kansas City. So it ended up working out where I was thinking when I asked my previous boss, I was like, hey, is it possible? Because I was like, we're moving to Kansas City in June. Is it possible to stay with WSI and have them, like, you know, maybe get a truck relocated to Kansas City and still drive for you guys, like have them, you know, run me out of there, you know? And he was like, yeah, we can totally do that, you know. He goes, I have connections to Kansas City, you know, we can totally pull it off. Oh, cool, all right, you know, because I was like, I'm gonna be honest, Jimmy. I was like, I was nervous about talking to you about it because I figured it was a long shot. He goes, no, I have connections up there. Like, we're totally get it done. I'm like, okay. He didn't tell me what the connections were, and then of course, like within like the next 4 weeks, we were called in to. We had to come in to do a meeting in the upstairs conference room at the FedEx terminal in Nashville, and we came in and we met the bosses. Like, we met the new owners of the company for who I drive for now. Like, they actually they bought the company. They came in. They had the owners. They had the safety manager. They had a couple other guys too that were there that we met. We met all of them, which I was like, I appreciate that, because previous companies I didn't meet the like Johnson. I met some of the higher managers with them because they're the ones I answer to. I even met the technical owner of Johnson. I met him briefly or whatever. I guess his last name was probably Johnson. It was like Nathan Johnson or something, so it was like Johnson Trucking, whatever. But and then I guess the previous before that I was with Hope, and I met the owner of that company. He was pretty cool, but then he sold the company as well. They stayed as Hope, but it was owned by someone else. That went from like me running the longer days out of everybody that was there, by putting in more miles, working more hours, and making like $1,100 a week, to all of a sudden I was running more miles and my pay went down to like $900 a week, and I was like, wait, I'm working 2 hours later now. Everyone else has done 3 hours before me, and now I'm not even making 1,000. I was like, I quit. What? You're resigning? He was like, yeah, I'm going over to Johnson. I was like, I'm you know how I'm always saying on here, guys, like, never go backwards, especially with your job, with your income, with your goals, whatever. Like, keep moving forward no matter what. But I guess before getting a little bit off of what I was saying before with my current employer, it's like, when I didn't know how I was going to come up here, I assumed it was going to be through like moving a truck. But then I met the bosses, and they're like, no, we have a terminal in Kansas City, and we told them we're going to bring you out there. I'm like, oh, cool. It's like, sweet, yeah, moving up there the first week of June. Probably I want to take like a week or one, like maybe like 2 weeks off when I get there to kind of settle in, and then jump in and get started. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Just here's the number for a manager that handles the Kansas City area. When you're ready, reach out to him and introduce yourself, and he'll let you know what to expect. I'm like, okay, cool, that works. But so I was me moving forward there or whatever, because I thought about it as I'm making my way back now from St. Louis to Lenexa. It's like I was thinking, I was like, I could very well, like, if I hadn't made the action steps that I had taken to get out here, and we were still living in that apartment back there, I could still be driving for that manager back there. Didn't have an assigned truck. Was split or shared trucks, I guess, between me and like 2 other drivers. Where I would get back in the morning after running all night, and basically they would be waiting for me to park, and I'd grab my stuff, and then they would hop in the truck and run their day shift, and then I would come back that night, and my truck would be parked, and sometimes the you literally have to stop and fuel because of course they would park it to be on like a quarter tank. I'm like, you motherfuckers. It's like, oh, so sorry. But if they acknowledge it or something, like, hey, we would have filled it up, but we were literally running out of time on my 14. Okay, then don't worry about it. It's no big deal. But if they just park it and don't say anything, then it's like, yeah, you guys suck. At least mention it. Hey, by the way, I couldn't fill it up, and don't leave it where it's on like empty. But if it's on a quarter, if I can at least make it to a fuel stop, all right, fine. I'll do it. That's fine, But let's see. But to kind of go along with the current topic, where like sometimes moving forward will still involve taking one step forward, two steps back. As I mentioned before, been working up. I'm always working towards trying to grow the show to get it to the point where, I'm a very dedicated listener to a bunch of other podcasts, and all the ones I listen to, basically, like, hell, within their first year, they're like, we just quit our jobs, we're full-time podcasters now, we do this for a living now, blah blah blah. And I'm like, because I've been doing this for a couple years, and I'm closer, but I still feel like I'm far away from getting to that point. But I have that with my schedule, with what I currently do. I don't have a lot of free time at all. Again, those of you who are new to the show, like, literally, I'm out here trucking it up 6 days a week. I get home in the morning, have enough time to literally eat, possibly grab a shower, but usually it's at least eat, go right to bed, maybe grab a shower before I come in that afternoon, but either the morning or whatever, and then I'm home for a little bit every day, and then I get home Sunday morning, and I'm off for technically 34 hours. So it's like, I get home, I try to take like a 4 or 5 hour nap, so I'm not sleeping my entire day off, because I want to hang out with the fam and actually make the most of my day off. And then basically Monday afternoon, I'm back up, getting ready to come back in again, for 6 days. So it's like, I have very limited time to really do anything, but I try to do what I can during the week. Like, I'm trying to, I'm also, not just with the podcast, but I've also got the coffee shop, which is BlodgettCoffee.com, promo code coffee10 for anybody who wants to do an order, get 10% off your first order. But there's coffee, there's tea, like coffee that's fresh roasted to order. Like, literally, once you place your order and the order gets processed, it gets roasted pretty much after you place your order. So it's not roasted sitting in a bag somewhere. It's actually fresh roasted, and then within a couple days it'll get processed out, fulfilled, shipped, and whatnot. So, but there's also merch as well. So there's like hoodies, coffee mugs, tumblers, t-shirts, beanies, trucker hats, like baseball caps, whatever, that all have the Blodgett Coffee logo on them. So you should totally check it out. BlodgettCoffee.com, promo code coffee10. But so I'm always working, trying to work, move forward. And I try to take what time I can throughout the week, whether it's, I'm going to take 15 to 20 minutes while I'm at St. Louis, try to, see what I can do, see if I can put some content out there, like get a video recorded for YouTube, or whenever I record a video, I try to post it everywhere, like TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, share it from Instagram to Threads, and then share it from whenever I upload it to YouTube, I'll share the same video to my LinkedIn account, and share it to stories, whatever. And every video I try to put on there, check out the podcast at BlodgettShowPodcast.com, and check out the coffee shop at BlodgettCoffee.com. Because I did digital marketing a while back, and I didn't quit because it was a scam, because it wasn't. It was just one of those where, like, unless you have a really huge following, that's a very tough side gig to do, because I did a few sales. I mean, I was like the legacy builder was like $900 for the program, and I made a few sales, so I made like a couple grand. But I ended up building my email list to like 600, and I had multiple people on that list who were emailing me saying they wanted to get started. It was just, they're just putting the money together, blah blah blah. And I was putting 3 or 4 videos out a day, and was continuing to work it. And I came down where I kind of backed away at some point, because I thought, I'm putting in a lot of work, and I've made some sales, but I'm nowhere near some of these others. They're like, we made 5,000 this week, and I'm like, a year and a half in, and I made like 3,000. I was like, there has to be an easier way, because I'm all about trying to find ways to like bring in income passively without having to like put in like 10 hours a day. Part of that stems from what I currently do, because I work 14-hour days, 6 days a week, and so it's like, when I'm working towards getting to that point where I'm going to retire myself, I'm going to be home full time, and I'll do, We have an upstairs office and a downstairs office we're setting up after my daughter and my grandson left. And, so I've got like a proper computer chair up in the upstairs office. Got a little desk in there right now. It's a little wood desk. It's like an heirloom that my wife got from her grandfather and stuff. Working on getting like a full size, like a quarter, one of those desks that kind of goes around the quarter, like full size office computer desk, whatever. It's all fancy, whatever. Working on getting it set up with that, and with like probably a desktop computer, like, because I have other plans too, like to hell even record like doing the videos where you record yourself playing like games online, or it shows you on one screen and it shows what you're doing on the other screen, so people actually, as they're watching, they're seeing your reaction and you're talking about what you're doing. Thinking about doing that eventually to try my hand at that, because I've heard that's pretty like I said, growing my YouTube channel and stuff. It's one of the things I'm actively working on as well. I got multiple future passive streams like this show, like the YouTube channel. I've got books that are in the works that, as you guys know from the Blodgett Show short Storytime Friday, got Volume 1 and Volume 2 practically done, and basically got Volume 3 started. And so those are going to be books that are actually going to be published at some point. And I've got a novel that's like 75% of the way completed, and another book idea that I'm thinking about. But again, time. I just haven't had time to really work on them. But I'm actively working on some stuff that is gonna like open up. It's gonna free up the finances pretty much, and it'll make it to where I could actually take time off more regularly, and like if I'm gonna take 3 or 4 weeks off every couple months, I'm gonna then be like, all right, cool. Now let's take care of the little things that we got to take care of, like pay off certain things. Use that time to go in the office every day for like a couple hours and basically get a couple of these book projects actually finished and start like formatting them, getting them getting them in the condition so they can basically be published, be close to being publishable, I guess would be the right way to describe it and stuff. And so lots of stuff on the to-do list, just have to have time. And then of course, publishing books, hey, that's income streams right there. The podcast will be an income stream. YouTube channel, once I monetize, that'll be an income stream. And then of course I've got the coffee shop that I'm now literally like actively working on consistently. Most days there might be a day here, a day there where I might not post anything about it, but most days I've tried at least do something. Either it's a video I'm uploading everywhere, like a short, to YouTube and TikTok and everywhere else, or I've got a couple of these subscriptions that connected to my coffee shop site, and they connected to the products, and they're actively creating these advertisements, like image advertisements or short videos that are like 20 seconds long. Pretty good stuff. And they're connected to my my Instagram, so I probably like daily or every other day I'm at least logging on my Instagram and looking to see if I have anything new posted. And I've had some good stuff, or then I'm like, oh cool, let me download that, upload that to Facebook, upload that to LinkedIn, share that to Threads. If it's a video, upload that to YouTube. Basically just keeping it out there and stuff. But you gotta keep, even if you're not seeing, how I'm always talking about, we gotta have hope. You can't just, someday. And, you just keep going to work and you talk about your goals and your dreams, like, hey, someday I want to open this little establishment. Someday I want to buy this house, but man, it must be nice. People that own these 2 houses, man, I just want to own 1 house. It's like, well, yeah, in order to own a house, you gotta actually make it happen. It's not just we're not, it's like me with my other half at home. The way I look at things with us, like, I love her to death, like she's great. She's really good at what she does. She's the chef. She's actually kitchen manager for Casey's and whatever. But she literally went to culinary school, and she has all these. She was a pastry chef back in Nashville for like 6 years. So But her dream is to have like a food truck or like a little restaurant or a bakery or something. And of course, both of our dreams is to be able to own a house and not rent anymore, because we've been together almost 20 years and we're still renting. We're not, But I'm actively working on the credit, trying to get that in order, and we're starting a lease purchase with our current property in like October, so we'll have a 12-month lease with them. But I've been working on the credit with good old helping hands. If you guys, anybody who wants to work, they're pretty good. If you need to work on your credit, should reach out to them. Tell them I sent you, mention the podcast or whatever, because I think I'm giving them the podcast link, because they're like, really, you do a podcast, send me your link. Okay. Or send me what your Spotify or whatever, or all right, cool. But been working with him for the last 2 or 3 months, and I've had some deletions and stuff. Things are happening. But getting the wife involved pretty soon to get her started and stuff, and then we'll start our lease purchase in October, and that'll be 12 months. So by that point, I'll have been doing the repair like 3 or 4 months at that point. And so I'll be I'll have a strong start, and then just keep going, and I'm hoping that within like the first half of our lease that I'll have seen enough progress on my credit report that I can be like, hey, cool, I'm approved. Because I really don't want to have to move, and I want to be able to actually, that's one of my next big goals, is my next 2 big goals are retiring myself and buying the house. And I don't know about the retiring myself, who knows, that might be a little further down the line depending on how things go. But the house should be doable a lot sooner. And then one of the other goals after those, or maybe while I'm working on the retiring myself, is getting my wife into what she wants, like her food truck or bakery or whatever she's trying to do. We had a little debate on the coffee shop when I was actually getting ready to get that going. I had asked, because I was trying to think of names for the business, and I'd asked my wife and my daughter, I was like, hey guys, like, this is what I'm looking at doing. Looking at starting a coffee business, a coffee shop. It's gonna be online right now, but I'm trying to think of a name. What do you guys think? Blodgett Coffee, Midwest something, blah blah blah. Blodgett Brew. And I didn't get any response from them. I was like, okay. And then my wife called me when she was on her way to work the next morning, that she wanted to talk about it. Hold on, guys, gotta take a sip of water here real quick. But she called me the next morning on her way to work, and suddenly, I want to talk to you about the coffee. We were asking about the coffee business. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, I just thought you guys were just blowing me off because I never heard anything. Well, and all her suggestions were like, well, we can't just start a coffee business and get coffee from some random, generic whatever and slap your name on it, blah blah blah. I'm not doing that. I do have a supplier, but it's a high quality supplier, and they roast the beans to order. It's fresh, whatever. It's it's all legit. It's all above board. She's, well, but you got to do coffee shop. If you want to do that, we can do that, but we got to find a place locally and get our own beans and get a roaster and roast them and blah blah blah. I'm like, love. I was like, when the hell would I have time to do any of that? I was like, I was trying to get off the road so that I can do other stuff. And I was like, right now I'm starting this the way I am, where it's online, so that I can build the online store where I'm bringing in consistent sales, growing the income and whatever, the business assets and whatnot, business income, and get a business checking and asset, and then I said that I could use that business to then help start the other things we want to do, like get your stuff started. She's, oh, okay, well, I'm just saying it'd be better, it just makes sense to to get our stuff, whatever. And I'm like, and I hear you, but it's not possible. I was like, I literally cannot do that. I was like, I don't have the time. I'm not free at all most days of the week, except for to come home, grab some food, go to sleep, or come grab some food, literally hop in and out of the shower and just do it quick. And I'm one of those where I love my showers, But during the week, I can't take them the way I want to because like I want to stand under the water because de-stress under the hot water, and literally it might be like a 40-minute shower, but because I lack sleep too often. Literally the other day, I was like, I probably had the quickest shower in my life. I think it was like 5 minutes. I got in there, I was like, I'm gonna deliberately not get under the water and just stand there under the hot water because I'll get in that. This feels amazing. And I'll want to stand there and time just flies by. Like it doesn't feel like that long, but before you know it, it's been 20 minutes, and you might feel like it's been 5. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get under the water a little bit to get wet and wet my hair or whatever. But then I immediately started grabbing like the shampoo, and I did that. Then started grabbing the body wash and doing all that stuff, whatever. And a lot of times because I have a razor in the shower. I do have a cordless one out by the sink that I use sometimes, but sometimes I'll actually put the high pressure spray on the shower nozzle, and I'll use the razor in the shower, and I'll actually shave in the shower. For me, that's just how I've done it. Being out there on the road, I rarely ever use like the shaving cream or whatever in the sink because just ends up being really messy, whatever. But in the shower, you shave, use the high pressure sprayer to clean your blade off, whatever. But it was literally like 5 minutes. Got in there, did the hair, the body, shaved, and then basically rinsed off really quick and jumped out. And I was like, quickest shower of my life, but I accomplished it, and I was getting basically all dried off and ready to head over and literally like crawl under the covers and go to sleep. But I had to do what I had to do, and it was like, I really need a shower, but I can't do that long one because I need to go to bed. Then you throw the husky in the mix, and she'll like wake me up at like 3 when I'm trying to sleep till 4:30, and she'll like literally start walking on top of me, and I'm like, now lay down, get the fuck off me. Sometimes she's doing that, and I realize if she's very aggressive with it, like I'll climb on me and I'll push her off, she'll climb on me again and push her off, climb on me again. I'm like, okay, obviously you probably have to go out. And so I'll take her out, and she'll immediately like look up for the run line, she'll run right out in the grass, like, and immediately start taking a dump. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do it. Sometimes I think she's just bored. Okay, I want to get up. I'm like, no, like lay down, go to sleep. Like we're not getting up for another hour. Because I've gotten pissed. I've actually gotten up sometimes thinking that, all right, you barely got to go outside. I'll take her out, hook her up, and she'll just sit there and stare at me like, what? I'm like, go down there, go potty. She'll just look at me. I'm like, don't tell me that you were walking on top of me and you didn't have to go to the bathroom. You were just walking on top of me because you wanted to get up. I'm like, you fucking, you bitch. So they'll be, all right, let's go back to bed. We came out here, let's go back to bed. Because as you guys know, fellow drivers, you know how it is. You gotta try to get what sleep you can, So my mind just blanked. I'm like, what was that go? There was something I was going with that. But so and I think we've been going 36 minutes, and we've kind of got a little bit into what I was planning to talk about a little bit. But as far as like, even when moving forward, you're gonna take every so often. You're gonna do 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So, like I mentioned, my podcast host and the advertising platform earlier this week, like Tuesday, I think. I was seeing a spike in downloads. So it was like, oh, cool. I had like 100 downloads, Monday night. And Tuesday night, I saw I had 150. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, cool. Wow. I'm like, things. It's like some nights it might only jump like 40 or 50, but then there's other nights, So there, this is kind of cool, like moving that direction. I think my average was showing like 385 per week. It was what my average weekly was. So I'm like, I'm moving up that way, but I guess with those spikes, by the time I got to Love's that has Arby's, to go ahead, basically, I was gonna grab fuel and then grab some food. I had a message, like literally as I pulled in there to Love's. Congratulations, you qualify. You now qualify to join our advertising platform. I'm like, what? Huh? really? I was at like 385. How? And I looked, and it was like, oh, your average weekly is 506. I'm like, wow, okay. You know, I jumped up. So I said, click the apply button to apply, and then your show will get reviewed by our team, and you know, it usually takes about a week for them to review your show, make sure that that approve you or whatever. And I'm like, okay. I had that feeling. I was like, I mean, hopefully I get approved, but I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna get denied for some bullshit reason. And then like, all they were telling me before was you gotta have average weekly of 500 downloads. Like, okay, well apparently my show's there, but then I had to apply and wait for them to. And I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna take a week, 20, not even a day. Like it was like midnight at that point when I applied. The next day, I'm on my way to work. Like I left home at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I get an email from Red Circle, and basically it's, unfortunately, your show was not approved for our advertising platform. This could be for a number of reasons. It could be the safety of the topics you discuss, which I'm like, I don't talk about anything that would be like dangerous, so I don't know what is it, or there's an issue with your download traffic. Huh. Okay. You know, so I go and I of course log in and click the advertising platform link on my site or on my host platform, and it's like basically says the same thing. It's like, yeah, unfortunately you weren't approved. This could be for this reason. Blah blah blah. Doesn't say, hey, we'll reevaluate this date. So I have this really bad feeling that basically was a one and done. Like if you don't get approved, you're done. Like you're not gonna get in there. They're not gonna look at your show again later. And this kind of I guess could be a little bit confirmed by, I mean, and maybe I'm just looking too much into it, but I emailed support with Red Circle and I was like, I'm confused. I was like, I was told I just had to have an average of over 500 downloads per week to basically qualify for your advertising platform. But then I had to apply, and I was told that had to get approved, and then I got denied. I was like, I don't know why I got denied. I said I just barely was above that 500 when I got qualified for it. So I mean, I can understand if I need to get like grow a little bit more, have more than just 500 exactly. You have like 700, 800, 1,000, whatever average downloads per week, and then be like, all right, now we'll take another look and basically get approved at that point. That would be fine. Okay, I would understand. But I emailed him like, hey, like, is there second chances to get into your advertising platform, or is that it? Like, once you get denied, are you basically screwed? Like, you're not gonna be able to work with you guys. So I said part of why I joined your platform was to get on that advertising platform, because my goal since I started the show years back has been to figure out how to monetize my show to eventually be able to open up a possibility of being able to replace what I currently do and do it full time. You know, I haven't heard anything back, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna hear something back, you know, or if once you get denied, if they just won't respond to your messages about it, be like, no, he got denied. We're not gonna explain ourselves. He just got denied. I don't know. Maybe they'll reply in the next couple of days, you know. But usually when I've emailed them before, they've replied within hours. Because I'd emailed about like, I think I was at the top subscription where it was like I was paying $32 or $34 a month, and you know, I had been inactive for at least a month because I hadn't paid the subscription. And I messaged them to ask them like, hey, I know you guys have a free option that has, you know, you don't have all the fancy perks that you get with the higher paid ones, but you can upload, you know, you like, basically you can still run your podcast, upload episodes, publish them, blah blah blah. There's other things that you can't do. Like, you can't see what countries are downloading your show, stuff like that. Like, there's just, you know, it's not big deals, but I had messaged to be like, hey, is it possible to downgrade me to the free one and reactivate my my account so that I can continue uploading my episodes. It's been a couple weeks. I'm really lazy, and I don't want to go too much longer without actually uploading episodes because I might just give it up and not come back, and I don't want to do that. I want to. Because my problem, and I'm sure, I don't know if a lot of you guys have the same issue where, like, if you're actively working on something but then you take a break for a while, then it's like, especially like working out, for instance. I was going to the Y back in Nashville for a couple months. Was doing it every day. Like one day I would go, when I was working for Johnson, I'd come in at like 1, I think I would come in at like 1:30, or come in at 1:30, and get done by like 8:30, 9 o'clock. But I would get up in the morning at like 10 a.m. and go to the Y, get there by like 11, and I would work out. You know, I'd do like the legs, arm. I basically would do weights one day, and then like if it was a day where I was off when I was at the gym, then I would, you know, bring my suit with me because they had an indoor pool. You know, so I'd hit the weights, and then I'd go change in the locker room, go hit the pool for about an hour or so. But if it was during the week when I was working, I would, you know, hit the weights, and basically, you know, I'd be done. Like, hit the weights, go drink some water, you know, grab my keys, and basically hit, you know, my water bottle, and head out. The next day I would do, I would go in, and I wouldn't hit the weights at all that day. I would go in, and basically would go up on the upstairs. They would have a track that you'd have to go like 20, it was like 12 laps for a mile. And so one day I would do the weights, you know, hit the actual like gym, you know, do all the weights, arms, legs, whatever. The next day I would go in and do the 2 mile, do 2 miles on the track. So it'd be literally like 24 laps. And then I'd go back to the weights again. And I was just doing that consistently every day. And still trying to, you know, eat somewhat healthy. And I wasn't seeing any progress, you know, because, you know, when you look at yourself, you're like, I don't feel any different. But I randomly, I think I did a selfie or a video with my bro Rico, whatever, and I was like just chatting with him. Might have been a selfie. He's like, bro, are you losing weight? I'm like, I don't think so. He goes, cause you look different. I'm like, really? What do you mean? He goes, you look thinner, like your face, like, really? So I was like, okay, I'm curious. So I brought up a photo from like the previous year when I was, so I had stayed pretty much the same weight. I had stepped on the scale at that point, you know, when talking to Rico, whatever. But before starting the Y, it's been like 6 months. I started to try to plan to get back to start working out, but I hadn't gotten around to it. But I had taken the before picture where you take a picture of yourself facing the mirror, turn sideways, picture of yourself sideways, and then you know, faced away from the mirror and took a photo, you know, showing my back. And then I did another photo, a current one, where I was currently. I made them like a little collage where it's like all 3 photos are in one image. And then I did the current one where I did the same photos but present. And then I sent it to Rico because I was looking at it going, I don't see it too much, but you know, and I forwarded it to him. He goes, no, bro, you definitely have toned up, man. Like your stomach actually looks smaller. Like I can see abs a little bit. Like you're starting to kind of like, you look thinner, you know, and like you're not, there's less flab. Like you're actually, oh really? Okay. And I sent it to my wife. Was like Rico says this. I don't see it. What do you see it to? No, you're definitely making progress. Like I'm really proud of you, love. Keep it up. Okay, cool. I was like, I don't see it. I don't feel any different. I might feel a little bit better. But oh yeah, I'll keep going. But then like I think at one point I either, you know, did like a fall or something. I think that was around the time that I fell. I don't know if you guys have heard that joke where like you hit a bug while you're going down the road, it's splat on the windshield. It's like you won't have the guts to do that again. It's like my windshield's pretty clean instead of splat. Like you little. Well, I mean you're dead though, so. Ooh, let's see if I can use the washer fluid while it's still kind of fresh. Get it off the windshield versus like let it crust on there. Like, yeah. I'm at that part on 4 470 out here in Kansas, where it's about to turn into 435, not too far out from Lenexa, and like a couple highways merge onto what I'm currently on. So it's like it's one of those you got to like be careful and watch other cars. But being Sunday morning, it's pretty. I noticed yesterday and this morning, not nearly as busy around this time of morning as it is during the week. So this time throughout the week, it was literally like felt like hundreds of cars around me, and I'm like, I'm gonna stay in this lane because there's all these cars flying by me, and I don't want to change lanes and cut one off. So, but they were both like, oh yeah, you look different. I'm like, okay, cool, but then I think that was around the time I had that. It was during the winter time, and I had fell down a flight of stairs due to black ice. Like literally was going to work, had my bag in one hand, had my cooler in the other hand. Got to the top of the stairs going down from our apartment down to the parking lot, and there's black ice literally the entire steps. I didn't see it. I got there, couldn't even get a hold of the handrail because I made it to the top of the steps. Feet went out from under me. The cooler went one direction, the bag went the other direction. I hit the top step and then went down about 20 or 30 steps and then hit the bottom. Was trying to grab the handrail the entire way down, trying to stop myself, and I got to the bottom of the steps and I was like laying at the bottom, and of course the neighbor came running out. Oh my god, are you okay? Oh my god, I'm like, ooh. That was a rough time. Like, I was hurt. If anybody had said like, hey, what's your pain scale at from 1 to 10? I'm like, 95. Are you sure? Yeah, it's pretty high. I'm like, 95. One of those where like, you know, I really don't cry very often, but I've had some moments like that where if you're in enough pain, yeah. I'm not too proud to admit that, you know, I've broken down crying on times where I'm like, the pain level was way up there to the point where I'm just like trying to just manage it, taking the pain meds, you know. But I was out for a month. So like literally I was doing PT for probably like, cause I basically contacted an attorney because they didn't solve the walkway at all. And so I was contacting people out there like, hey, like, do I have any options? Can I get represented? Blah blah blah. Because like, you know, this happened at the apartment complex, and I'm really hurt. I'm out of work for about a month because I can't move. I got represented, and they basically sent me to like, you know, medical things like getting the shots in the back, physical therapy, you know, and once I was like, literally, it took me about a month. I was dragging, like, I mean, I'll never forget. It's one of those experiences where, like, it'll always be ingrained in my memory. I was laying on the ground wondering, should I call 911? I don't know if I can get up. And I managed to roll over on my stomach and get myself to my feet. And I stood up, and of course the neighbor's like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, no, I'm not okay, but thank you. Okay, so let me know if you need any help. Okay, thank you. They thankfully they went out and grabbed my bag and my cooler, which had strewn about all the contents, so they put everything back in. They brought my work bag over, brought my cooler over with everything put back in. I was like, thank you, I appreciate it, thank you. And you know, I'm standing there still. Even while I'm standing, I was like, do I call an ambulance? Because I don't know. Like, I'm hurt really bad. I don't know what's. So I thought, well, let me call the wife because she was at work, and of course, like I don't usually call her at work. I might text, check in throughout the day, but I rarely ever will call her while she's working. And so she pretty much probably figured I'm calling, something's up. So I'm calling like, love, are you okay? Oh, I just went down an entire flight of stairs. Oh my God, are you okay? No. What are you gonna do? This is me, guys. This is how I am. Like, if I can be upright and I have to work, I'm gonna go to work. Like, if I can be on my feet, I'm gonna go do what I have to do. Now, there's the only times I call out of work is when I'm like, got the flu, like, can't even get out of bed. Because if I'm upright, I'm like, gonna fall over because I'm so sick or whatever, And so So literally, she's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I'm just trying to decide if I'm gonna go to work or not." She goes, "Go to the fucking hospital." Okay. So I literally, like, I was gonna drag myself to my truck, my Ram at the time, and go to urgent care or something. But of course, like, my kiddo was home at that, and I'm at the bottom of the stairs going, I really can't walk up. I think I don't know. I don't remember. I think, yeah, I think I basically put my bag and my cooler in the back of the truck, because I was like, there's no way I can make it up the stairs right now to put this inside. So I dragged that over to the truck, but I called my kiddo from down the foot of at the bottom of the stairs. Hey, Dad, what's up? Because she was inside. I was like, oh, just went down the whole flight of stairs out here, hurt pretty bad. She goes, don't die. I was like, you want to come out and help and all? And I said, no, you're okay, Dad. Like, all right. Well, gee, thanks, kiddo. So much love, so much love. Because you're always the big, strong, dad. So, like, if we're hurt, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. He's fine. Like, my wife's sick, gotta basically cook and, help her around and stuff. But if I'm hurt, like when she had her surgery for her sinus surgery and stuff, and she was in a lot of pain, I was literally, like, taking care of her. I think I took at least, a day or two off to kind of hang out with her. Took the day of the surgery, and then the next day I was with her, hanging out with her, and then I was back to work the next day. Figured be there for her and stuff, but when I went down the stairs though, I went to urgent care. They had me lay on a little table, which that was fun, because you don't have any. I didn't have any upper body strength, and I did something to my hip and whatever. Like, my back was all fucked up. I mean, I laid on that metal table or whatever to have them x-ray and whatnot. But then she was like, go ahead, sit up. I said, I'm going to need your help with that. So she grabbed me by the hand and pulled me up. I was like, thank you very much. I was like, you're in a lot of pain, aren't you? I was like, yeah, I have no idea. I was like, it's not as bad as it was earlier, but it's still pretty, it's like knives all over my body, whatever. So, but yeah, so that was a fun process. I got put on pain meds to help with it, and for like a month. Thankfully, I had a lot of PTO that I had planned on using to take a long vacation, but instead, I used that vacation time for the next, like, 3.5, 4 weeks. Basically, I was just home, taking the meds, going to PT, trying to basically just, work my way back, and could barely lift my leg. Like, I was literally, when I'd walk, I would drag one of my legs to the ground. And so, like, at home during the month, like, when I talk about, like, me being there to, like, help my wife around, and I'm home, barely can walk, and I'm like, I pull myself up out of the chair, and I hobble into the kitchen. She says, just be careful, take it slow. It's like, thank you. I'm sure if I was hurt bad enough, I'm sure she probably would, quote unquote, help take care of me or whatever, but it's like, yeah, So, didn't plan to go to that story a little too much, but I was just like, I had to do what I had to do to keep moving forward and get myself back. And so, like, again, recently where I'm dealing with the Red Circle advertising platform, and they're like, yeah, we didn't approve you, unfortunately, blah blah blah. I'm hoping that they come back saying, no, like, we'll reevaluate later on if your show actually has a lot more downloads, and we'll check it again, and we'll see. All right, then I'll just stay where I'm at, because I was like, I thought all I had to do was hit that $500 per week, and then I could get on there. But you were like, well, no, we still have to approve you, and this, and like, that's stupid. You should be like, oh, you have to have $500 per week, but then it's subject to approval. Like, we have to check and make sure you're a good fit, blah blah blah. Like, I was like, I'm just trying to make it happen. trying to actually like get ahead, blah blah blah. You know, trying to actually like succeed. And it's like when I after dealing with those messages, I'm not gonna lie, guys. As far as like the part of the topic where it's like sometimes moving forward, you go one step forward, two steps back. Well, that's what I felt like. I was telling my wife about it, and I was like, you know, I think it's a bunch of shit. I said I wish that they hadn't even said anything. Like, you know, if they hadn't, because I got the message like immediately after I crested 500. Congratulations, you're qualified. Hit the apply button, and then you know, it'll take us a week to evaluate. And once you're approved, and you do this, that, you can upload like ads that are sent to you that you can have them inserted automatically, or you could do post-read ads where like they send me, you know, I could pick different ads that I could read myself, and I would actually get paid more on those ads than I would on the ones that they insert. I'm like, well, I'd probably do the ones that they would send me because, you know, I'm all about as much passive as possible. So I was excited, but then when this happened, I was like, I kind of wish they hadn't said anything. They just, you know, didn't give me the you're qualified, because I got, oh, cool, progress. Like I made it there, and then of course, oh, never mind, you got denied. Motherfuckers. So for a minute, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like I actually thought for a minute, I was like, you know what? Like some days I wonder, like, do I keep going? Do I keep trying to do what I'm doing out here with the show? Do I keep posting episodes? But I'm like, I've come a long way. I have made progress. I've got the new website. It's pretty awesome. If you guys haven't seen it yet, BlodgettShowPodcast.com. But if you go to BlodgettShow.com, it'll reroute you there anyway. So BlodgettShow.com will take you there. And again, anybody who wants to support, BlodgettShow.com/support, BlodgettShowPodcast.com/support. But I'm always, with whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to take action steps every week, because I know if I stop, it's hard to get going. Oh, that's part of what I was with the being hurt way back. Is like after I got better, I never got back in the gym again. You know, like back in the Y, like I couldn't, you know, because like I couldn't motivate myself to start getting up in the morning again and going back to the Y, because I was worried about that. Like when I was going daily, I was like, I'm not gonna miss a day because I worry that I'm gonna be lazy if I take a day off. But then the next day I'll want to take the day off again, because I'll be like, I'm tired. I want to stay in bed, whatever. Because while I was doing it every day, it was easy to keep going. Like I went today, okay, then I got tomorrow, and it was nice. And the next day I was in there every day, and I had some of the trainers in there that were seeing me show up every day actually pulled me aside. They're like, we see you here like every fucking day, like we just like, I just want to, you know, and they would shake my hand. I'm impressed. Like, keep it up. Like, we've seen you just a little bit. You've been here. I mean, you already look a little bit different than when we first saw you. Like, you're doing it. So just keep it. I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that, you know. But then I was out for a little bit, and I had trouble getting back. So like when I take time off the show, like when I took time off for those 2 weeks back in March, I had intended on recording during those 2 weeks, but then because I was so burned out, it'd been like 9 months since I had taken a break. I never sat down and recorded, but I didn't have an office, whatever. Like my daughter and my grandson were living with us, so like I literally had to record sitting on the couch or on the kitchen table. But pretty soon we're gonna have those offices set up, and I won't have an excuse. Like when I take time off, I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna go out over to the office for a couple hours. I'll be back. Gonna go get some recording done. Gonna get some writing done for the Storytime Friday episode, you know, stories. You know, I don't have an excuse now because I have a place I can work. But it'll still be me having to force myself to be like, I gotta go get this done. I gotta go do something. Because I don't want to just not do anything. And yeah, it's nice to hang out and spend time with the fam, but you gotta, you know, I gotta like force myself to actually like commit and stuff. But to kind of like wrap this up a little bit, don't stress yourself if as you're working on something, like as you're working on your goals, whatever, you know, let's say, okay, you made progress here, you made progress there, and then all of a sudden you make progress, but then something happens and it bumps you back a little bit. Like in this case, where I thought, hey, cool, I'm actually able to join the advertising platform and start having ads on here, can could start actually bringing in revenue from the show. That's awesome. So I've been pushing for it. And then all of a sudden, never mind, you didn't get approved. I'm like, fuck. So then it's like, okay, well, where do I go from here? Like, can I get on the platform in the future, or am I screwed? Because I told them when I emailed support, I was like, if that's it, if I can't get on the platform at all now, I said I'm probably gonna go to another host, because I said that was part of why I came over here. I love you guys. I think I love this platform. I think this is great. You know, I love being over here. It's very, you know, like, especially since I have the option, the free option, where I'm not paying to be hosted over there. But, you know, again, I'm looking at my overall end goals with the show. Like, I want to take it further. I want to get to the next level. You know, start bringing in revenue for it, and then continue to ramp that. So that way, eventually, it's a stream of income that can replace what I'm currently doing, and then I can also work on the books and all that stuff. But like, one of these things I'm working on is going to be the thing that gets me fully off the road, and then I can then commit to the other stuff I'm doing as well, because I'll have the time to do it. But it's like, I got knocked back 2 pegs. It's like, all right, like, not, like I said, guys, I debated on walking away and be like, you know what, maybe I should still let the show go, but I'm like, no, that's not an option. I gotta keep at it. I can't. I was like, this is just a minor setback. It's not permanent. I can do this. Blah blah blah. You know, and so that's why I'm always saying, guys, we gotta have hope. You know, you gotta be able to you know, have hope that things are gonna get better. It's like, I can't be like my former friend D that I told you guys about, where she was always like, oh, this sucks, that sucks, life sucks, nothing's ever gonna get better. Because she got a government check, like $1,400 on the first, and then she spent it all by the third, and then was like broke the rest of the month, getting food from like food pantries and stuff, complaining that how miserable she was. But yet when I was like, well, can't you do stuff on the side to try to bring in a little bit extra money to help? But she said, no, I have too much anxiety, I can't work or whatever. And I'm like, out here doing what I do, deal with drivers that almost kill me multiple times a week. And I'm like, you have too much anxiety. I was like, I was like, you should come out here. I was like, I see a lot of truck accidents where it's like, truck went across the interstate, across the median, somehow managed to get across to the other side, even though there's a barricaded wall and it was a dip. You know, they had to go down and come back up. Still managed to get to the other side, and yet when their truck had shut down the other side, it was upside down. I shit you not, guys, upside down, facing the wrong direction, laying on its roof with the all 18 wheels sticking up. You know, like debris everywhere from the trailer, but yet both the truck and trailer upside down. And I'm like, how the hell did he do that? But then I heard it was a fatal accident, so I think he probably, we hear that all the time when they had some kind of like medical emergency going down the road, like they have a heart attack and die before something happens, before the truck even wrecks. And so then, of course, they, you know, once they're gone and the truck's still going down the highway, that's like scary as shit right there, because you got a 80,000-pound vehicle that's no longer being controlled because the driver died behind the wheel, because the stress at the job is pretty intense, you know. Or they, you know, sometimes because they screwed up, they're watching their phone or something, you know, foot up on the dash, whatever, you know. But you gotta be willing to actually like make those moves, make those choices, take action, you know. Like everyone else, I mean, I'll admit, I do struggle with mental health a little bit. Hell, because by the time I get done in the morning, like 8 in the morning when I get home, sometimes, depending, like, I might feel like shit, like emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever. I get home and sometimes the smallest thing will set me off. Like, I'll hear something or watch a reel on Instagram that's kind of like got that emotional heartstring type content, whatever, and I'll watch that reel and I'll just break down sobbing. You know, then I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? And I'm like, I gotta get home and go to bed. I'm fucking tired, man. And I'll sleep and I'll get up and have something to eat, you know, and of course later when I'm getting ready to work again, I'm like, okay, I feel a lot better than I did this morning because I've slept, I've eaten. You're not hangry or whatever. Because when your brain fried because you've been up all night, whatever, it's like, ooh, crap. So, but that's why I'm like, yeah, the idea of me doing this, staying out here for the next 30 years is depressing. Like, medically, I don't think I could do it because, like, I'm pretty sure that I would probably not be around that long with my current health. Like, I'm not like bad health, but I'm not great either. But because of my schedule, I can't do what I need to do to actually like get really good health. Don't have time to get to the gym. I eat as best I can out here with the options I have available. I'd have to change some stuff up to really, really ramp it up. Like actually put a microwave in the truck here, and bring food out with me, which I'm willing to do, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. And then if I did that too, because I already know how I do it, that I wouldn't have to necessarily worry about getting food in Love's. I would just get coffee. Go get coffee or whatever, hit the bathroom. Which coffee I could do in the truck too, technically. You could put my own creamer in the fridge out here in the truck, have a microwave set up so I can literally just pull off, heat, go in the bunk, heat up the food, possibly make my coffee before I even leave Lenexa or whatever, or make it when I stop, like stop halfway to take a break or something. But I could, it's just one of those things. I haven't quite made that decision yet. It's on my list, things I'm thinking about doing, but I'm kind of focusing on the current stuff I'm working on as far as like getting the VA disability updated, working on that, getting that claim filed, paying that fee, all that fun stuff. And then getting things paid off, getting the next like 3 or 4 week time off planned, just to take care of a few things, go visit my parents, go visit the East Coast fam, probably go to Nashville to take care of something, and then be back here by the time I, like within those first 2 weeks, have all that stuff done, and then have the next 2 weeks where I'm just home, relaxing, and spending that time actually like working on stuff, getting my writing done, put myself in a position where I'm actually can like, be ready to like format and publish a couple of books. It's like this part with the disability part, getting back pain stuff. I have a lot of stuff planned already. Like once, my wife and I were debating back and forth because I was like, yeah, I'm working on that first because she needs me to get her updated plates for her car because she still has the expired temp tags. Because Missouri, this is kind of a new experience for me. Buying cars before, you would have like you'd buy it at the dealer, you get finance, and it's title tags is all included in your freaking finance. We went through and bought 2 cars here. I got my truck, she got her Jeep, and I went to go register my truck because the temp tags expired for like a month or 2, and I was like, gotta get my tags because I don't want to get pulled over, blah blah blah, even though my license is current. Went in there to try to get it done, thinking registration usually, because instead of like the dealership, usually in the past you buy your car, you pay everything at the dealer, and then you receive your tags in the mail within like a month. Up here, you get the title mailed to you, plus like all this paperwork, and they say basically take this paperwork to the DMV. I'm like, oh, I gotta go do that. Okay. So took it in there, thinking maybe $200. I know registration's not that much, but I was thinking like max $200. She starts writing everything down. And I'm like, yeah. So how much like are we looking at right here? And she's like, well, like with this and this, blah blah blah, like 1,500. What? I was like, whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait, what? I was like, why that number's throwing me off? Like, why? Well, because of sales tax. I'm like, but I bought this at the dealership. She goes, yeah, I got you. She's like, yeah, but didn't we pay that at the dealership, like with the loan? She goes, no. I'm like, are you sure? Because I've never had to pay sales tax to register a vehicle. It's always been in the loan, always been taken care of. And she brought out the paperwork and saw 0 for sales tax. I'm like, she goes, yeah, they don't charge sales tax at the dealership here in Missouri. Like they have the driver take care of that. She goes, but they're switching that. They're making a law where it's gonna, you're gonna have to pay it at the dealership or have it get financed. I'm like, huh. But that'll be like for the next year or 2. I'm like, okay, I wish we would have known that. I mean, we still would have bought the cars probably, but so got to get her car done because her car still expired technically. She's got pulled over a few times, got warnings. The cops are pretty understanding, like, yep, here's the warning. We understand because we're just trying to get the money together to try to get this done. Because we got to pay the sales tax as well as the registration. They're like, yeah, we get it. Just try to get it done as soon as possible. We're like, yes, sir. So I got my truck done with the help of my parents, thankfully. Because I was like, my love my mom. She was like, Chris, why should we help you out with this? And I'm like, I'm not asking you guys for help. I was telling her, like, hey, when as soon as I can get this taken care of so that I'm legal, I said, at some point, I want to come down and visit you, but I don't want to be on the highway, leaving the state with not valid plates. So, but then they ended up, we're actually going to help you with that anyway, even though you're not asking. Okay, well, I appreciate it, thank you, I went and got it done and sent her a photo of the plates. I'm like, hey, so I got it taken care of. She says, yay, it's taken care of. I'm like, yes, thank you, Mom, I love you guys. We just didn't want you to get in trouble. Yeah, I know. So the wife and I were having a debate though about the because she's like, well, we got to get my plates taken care of them. I know. I was like, but I'm working on right now, putting money aside for the disability part because, I figure that's probably more important right now. She's like, no, we need to do my car. I'm like, love, I hear you, but we need the financial boost right now. Getting your car done isn't really going to help us financially. It'll help you not get pulled over, but I was like, I need to take a break. Like, I need to be able to, hey, let's plan for vacation. And so getting the disability part set up, that'll help. So I'm close to that, got money put aside for it, but it's like, once like that, I've moved a couple steps forward. The podcast, I've been knocked a few steps backwards, but as you guys tell, I'm here with you guys, and getting it done, moving forward. So just gotta keep pushing forward, guys, no matter what. Don't let one setback permanently knock you back. Just get back up. Like I always say, guys, like we only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as we continue to get back up and try again, try something else, we haven't failed. So on that note, because I'm getting ready to pull up here to the Lenexa Hub, anybody who wants to support the show, go to BlodgettShowPodcast.com/support. You can find us on socials, on Instagram at Blodgett Show Podcast. You can find my personals on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at TN Trucker Chris. That's Tennessee Trucker Chris. Find me on YouTube at ChristopherBlodgett. One sec here as I pull in here to scan my badge here real quick. Hold on one sec. There we go. But if you are a coffee or tea drinker, or you like cool merch such as hoodies, coffee mugs, tumblers, check out the new business, the new coffee shop, BlodgettCoffee.com. I try to put these links in the show notes, so that way, you guys don't just have to listen to them and be like, what did it say? I pull in here going, where are you going, man? I mean, I guess I'll turn that one. Guy with a 53-footer, blocking the lane, and there's two of us that are coming in with trailers. I'm like, I don't know where you're planning to go, man, because it's got to exit out the other way, technically. So, BlodgettCoffee.com, and there's a promo code that I've put on the store. First time orders, you can get 10% off, and you can type in that code. It's coffee10. That's coffee10, all one word. That'll give you 10% off. But yeah, check it out. Got coffee that's fresh roasted to order, and there's tea, as well as, like I said, all the other merch items in there. I usually don't come around this side, whatever. Usually I'm coming from the other direction, but because that guy was blocking, I had to come this way. I'm like, ooh. Let's see if there's a way I can pull through though. Hey, it looks like there's a gap. Well, maybe not. It looked like there was a gap. Nope. I'm gonna swing around. I'm like, man, why did that guy have to be blocking and, you know, causing problems, of course, you know. Because the other day, I actually was pulling through, or I was coming in here, and there was a gap, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I can pull through here or whatever. And I started to pull between two trailers, and I made it. But it was literally like a foot between me and the trailers beside me. I was like, ooh, crap. Let's see. Man. This guy's just sitting over here. I'm like, what are you doing, man? So I might be like, screw it, and take this trailer in the back, because usually the problem they have up here is they don't have, they'll have trailers like parked in all sorts of odd locations, so there's nowhere for me to like, to be able to pull through and drop a trailer, but not much I could really do about it, you know. So, blodgettcoffee.com, check out the podcast website, blodgettshowpodcast.com, blodgettshow.com/support, or blodgettshowpodcast.com/support for anybody who wants to support the show. Of course, like Blodgett Show Podcast on social media. T and Trucker Chris for my personals. tandtruckerchris.wordpress.com for the blog. Anybody wants to send me stories, that if you're a writer and you want to have a story for me to read on the show for Storytime Friday, you can email those to me at blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com. Aside from that, I think that's it, but keep pushing forward, keep believing. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this week. And, you know, no matter what, guys, we got this. So just keep doing what you gotta do, and everything will work out. You know, we'll get there. We'll get there in the end as long as you keep moving. So on that note, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here this week, and I will see you guys on the next one. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you then.